Good afternoon, everyone. It's a sunny Thursday afternoon here in South Africa. And if you're joining us from wherever you're joining us all over the world, welcome and thank you for making the right choice. So I'm very, very excited to be here today. I'm not alone. I am with a group of very, very talented, very exciting individuals who are really going to share with us today what part they play in being the South Africans that they are. And most importantly, what brands have shaped them into the people that they've become. And of course, you are tuned in courtesy of the Sunday Times GenNext event. And man, I must just ask, do you remember what it feels like to turn 18? Okay, of course, our J-Bods, our younger J-Bods have no idea what I'm talking about, but turning 18 was just such a monumental time. I remember feeling like this is the first day of the rest of my life. Now I've got freedom. Now I can actually get a driver's license. Now I can go out there and live. Well, the exciting news is that this event is in its 18th year. We've made it. We are now growing up. We are getting our bearings together, and I think we're just so excited to share with you what you can expect this year from the Sunday Times GenNext Awards. And of course, it's not just about us as the consumers. It's most importantly about the youth and the brands that catch their attention and the brands that are going to continue to catch their attention as the years go by. So thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Lebang Khosana, and I will be your host for the next hour, just introducing you to some of the amazing people that we have on board today. And later on, we'll have a panel discussion with our awesome J-Bards, who I think are like our MVPs. They have been carefully selected out of hundreds and hundreds of young people to represent, the voices of the youth. So thank you so much for making the right choice. Thank you for being here. And of course, this is all courtesy of Yellowwood as well as Cliff Central. So I'm going to firstly go ahead and introduce our other steerings. So we've got our 4 J-Bod steerings who are our A team. And then there's just these 3 incredible individuals who I had such a great time meeting and talking to for the first time in August last year. And since then, I'm just like, wait, thinking, I need to speak to these people again. So we're very, very lucky today just to get a little bit of insight on some of the things that they've been working on. And most importantly, what we can expect from the awards this year. So first and foremost, I must introduce, this man, this very, very talented man that is going to speak now. His name is Eben Gierwes. He's the head of advertising sales and trade marketing at Arena Holding. And then we have Ausi Rifile Maluleke, who is the TBWA SA Chief Strategy Officer, as well as the Yellowwood MD. I mean, you can just hear she's got it going on. She knows what she's talking about. And lastly, we have Masechaba Akolo, who is the head of strategy also at Yellowwood. So I think just the purpose of today is for us to find out what is it that we can expect from the event this year. As I said, we're turning 18. This is a big deal for us. It's not just, another year. It is the year. Also, it's 2022. And a lot of things have been said on social media about whether it's just 2022, so 2020 again, or really if this is the start of an amazing year, fresh start, clean slate. And I don't know about you, but I feel like there's definitely something in the air, this this feeling of positivity, and everybody's just so optimistic. And we are no different. We are also on the same wavelength. We've got our chakras out there. Our candles at 11:11 have been going out. We want this year to be amazing. We want this year to be our year. So we encourage you to join us and just get on this amazing journey, and we can see where we get to from here. Let's find out exactly what makes the youth tick. What is it about brands that really makes the youth just open up their minds and say, hey, that's actually really cool, or hey, that is super dope? Because as we know, the consumers are the ones that keep us here, right? So it's important for us to hear their stories and just to keep it real. So I'm very excited. Thank you to Yellowwood. Thank you to Sunday Times. Thank you, GenNext, for making this platform possible. I mean, this is just a launch, and I can imagine when we get to the actual event, it's going to be insane. It's going to be so dope. All right, cool. So let me not take up too much time. Let me introduce our first speaker. As I mentioned, he's one of the A team. He's got it going on. We wouldn't just bring anybody here for you. We're bringing you some quality individuals. Mr. Eben Gierwes, the head of advertising sales and trade marketing from Arena Holding. And he's going to take the microphone and hold it down. Over to you, Eben.
Lebang, thank you very much for that introduction. I don't think I've ever been called a steering before, but I'll take it. you know. And thanks for reminding me that I'm on the other side of a certain age, because I don't think I can remember when I turned 18, but it was probably just some chaos and hoping for a driver's license. I think those were the key things that I was aiming for, to be perfectly honest. But thank you very much for that amazing introduction. I truly appreciate it. This is obviously a project that we are extremely proud to be associated with. We've been doing it for close on 2 decades, for 18 years, as you said. And honestly, it is one of the premier marketing events on the marketing calendar in South Africa, and the international interest that we receive for the project, because it really is the project that actually shows people what youth are thinking about the various products, the pieces of marketing communication, price points, all those kind of things. And I think it really is just the kind of thing that people do need to pay attention to. So in the parlance or the language of 2022, I'm going to use the words that everybody's heard a million times. Let me share my screen so that you guys can see what's on my screen here. And I'll put it in presentation mode. So young people, don't worry too much. It's not a very long presentation. So you don't need to worry that I'm going to bore you. But in a nutshell, I mean, what we try to do with GenNext is not only showcase to the brands and the marketers and the advertisers what people are thinking about their products and their brands, but we're also trying to make sure that they almost steel themselves against market disruption. The last couple of years have been a mess, to say it in the nicest possible way. And so the traditional marketing strategies, opportunities, routes to market, etc., have all been affected. So what we're trying to do with GenNext is help the marketers by literally understanding exactly what young people are thinking, and actually in real time, to a large extent, give them the opportunity to work with us. So what it is Sunday Times and Yellowwood, as well as the rest of the arena platforms, we coordinate and host digitally as well as in a hybrid, and I'm very happy to say, in a very optimistic way, that we are starting to have face-to-face activities again, and I think a lot of the young people and the brands will start being very excited about the fact that we can have that fun event again where people interact with the various brands, and they can actually look, touch, feel, and enjoy the brands and actually tell us in real time what they think. So it really is a consumer behavior survey. And what we're trying to do is just really unpack in a very in-depth manner what people are thinking. It's really about insights. I mean, every marketer in the world will tell you that it really is about insights, because insights help us actually craft proper communication, and that communication goes a long way in terms of positioning the brands. So really it answers the question, what do marketers need to know to better connect with the youth of South Africa? So the brands that are involved is the marketing platforms that we're using is all of the arena platforms, which would include the Sunday Times, which is where we are going to have the supplement as well. The Business Day, because there's a whole bunch of business insights that need to be unpacked. Times Live, obviously, Business Live, the Sowetan Live, the Red Zone, and also obviously the arena events, which is the actual physical eventing side of things. And the cool thing about all of this is it all combines to bring us a significant amount of stats. So last year on the webinar, we had about 15,000 people on Facebook. YouTube brought us to 20,500 people. There were about 4,000 people literally tuning in to watch the actual awards, which is a big thing by South African standards. And once you quantify all the rands and cents value of all of this activity, it's in excess of 100 million rand worth of exposure that people receive. So any brand associated with this project is going to do exceptionally well, and we urge all the brands to continue to partner with us. So now, what is the plan for this year? There's 6 different parts that we're going to do. In March, we start with a 4-part digital conference. That's always a lot of fun because it's more on the ground, and because we can actually, from the one conference to the next, understand what people's needs are, and then we can take it from there and adjust going forward. We will have digital activations. So all the brands that are listening at the moment and others will have the opportunity to host digital activation to target South Africa's youth. I think people have become so comfortable with screens and being, a little bit away from each other. So there's lots of opportunities to still put your brands in the hands of people, albeit virtually, to unpack what they need to do. My absolute favorite is the interactive showcase. So 15th of September, we'll actually host 300 young people again at the Hill on Empire, which is on 16 Empire in our building. And the nice thing is there, we will have all the brands, actually everybody from the usual, stalwarts like PlayStation to some lesser known or lesser perceived brands. We'll have them all in the same room. And we will have 150 people at a time being able to come in, because we're still mindful of the COVID protocols, but we'll have 100 young people at a time come in and look, feel, touch, interact with the brands and tell us what they think. On the 16th, the day after, we will actually have the annual hybrid event. So that's the actual awards. We will actually unpack exactly who the coolest brands are as voted by the youth. And I urge you, I mean, obviously everybody wants to be the coolest brand, but there's so much insight to be taken from not being the coolest brand and how you can actually change or reposition yourself to actually become there. We only invite the top 3 finalists in each nominated category. And then we are going to live stream the awards just to make sure that if you can't attend, we are going to make sure that it's live streamed. Then there's a supplement on the 18th, which will actually appear in Sunday Times. All the results will also be in Times Live. That's always a fun one because, it's the kind of thing that brands and media owners or media practitioners can keep. And they can actually refer back to it the whole time and see who was top dog in the space and who wasn't, and take it from there. And then we'll have the speed dating digital sessions. This is going to be fun because this is post awards where we actually partner with the brands to unpack what people thought of their brands. So I think that is for me, at least as a marketing practitioner, that is such a vital link to close the loop, to actually unpack what people thought of your brand, whether it was good, bad, things you can improve, things that you can enhance, all those kind of things will be unpacked there. So what we are explaining to anybody who wants to partner with us, you can leverage from multiple marketing platforms. The pre and post event media coverage is huge, as I've indicated, by the rands and cents. You can interact directly with the youth through all our digital activations, which is incredibly good. You can gain valuable research insights into the youth market, which the reason we're all here. You can interact with the country's top youth marketers. I mean, people who've exercised or specialized in this environment, so you can interact with all of them. You can showcase your brand as a leader in the youth market. And ultimately, at the end of the day, do what most marketing practitioners want to do, is achieve all your brand objectives. So GenNext is ready to rock and roll in association with Yellowwood and Sunday Times. So feel free to contact any one on this address here, but we will share all the contact details with everybody going forward. Thanks, Levon.
Eben, did you say something about speed dating? Or did I mishear? you had me at speed dating.
Speed dating.
Like everything is it after that?
Without speed dating, there won't be any Tinder swindling nonsense because you can see the people right there.
Well, that's a big relief. Thank you so much, Eben. I think, that was quite informative. You really did unpack what the plans for the GenNext 2020 program will be. So thank you for sharing that with us, and we look forward to it. And I'm so excited. You said something about we're sort of like craving that human element now. I mean, we come out of 2 years of just like feeling like we're caged up and we don't really know what's going on outside. And in as much as we have gotten used to screens, we still want that human interaction. And that's a big part of the event this year. So I'm keen 2 days of seeing human beings again, being able to hug people with masks on, and being able to speed date with some of my favorite brands. Yes. Thank you, Eben. I'm very, very excited. Sounds awesome. So now what's going to happen is we're going to get into the research process of the event, what it will entail, and the benefits of these insights. And then at the end of this, we're going to have a bit of a Q&A session with the panel of youth, as I mentioned earlier. So if you do want to ask us any questions, please use the chat box, the comment section there on the side. Don't be shy. You can ask us anything. And of course, we will make sure that you get your answers. So as we proceed, I would like to introduce our second speaker. As I said, we've just got a group of starings here that you just absolutely cannot ignore. Refilwe Maluleke is also here today, and she is TBWA SA's Chief Strategy Officer, as well as Yellowwood's Managing Director. That was a mouthful, and it must tell you a lot about her. She knows what she's talking about. So without further ado, Refilwe, take it away.
Thank you so much, Levang. Really appreciate that. It certainly is a mouthful, and you're not the only one who feels that way. But of course, I'm very happy to be here and to have the opportunity to chat a little bit more about Yellowwood in terms of what we do, because I'm aware that there's some people who may have no idea who we are and why we're here. And then, of course, to hand over to our head of data strategy, the incredibly smart and talented Mas Chaba, and she will take you through a little bit more detail around how we go about conducting the research for GenNext and what the different outputs look like. As Eben said, it's not just about cool brands, as great and important as that is. For us, the more critical part is really in understanding the kind of insights that can help you as brand custodians to connect better with young people. So by way of introduction into Yellowwood and who we are, so I think first it's always helpful to know what we do, right? And what we do as a strategy consultancy is we provide our clients with the tools that enable them to drive sustainable top line growth. Ultimately, it's my belief that that's the job of marketing, to make sure that there is always demand for what it is that you make or create. And the best way to do that is to make sure that you are constantly appealing to your current audience as well as to your future audiences, which is why GenNext fits so beautifully into our portfolio. Now, when it comes to why do we work so hard to give our clients the tools they need to drive top line growth? Well, it's our belief, and certainly my personal belief, that marketing has the power to change business and human behavior for the better. And so for us, that's really what motivates us every day to do the work that we do. We want to be known around the world as the kind of strategic marketing thinkers who use it as a tool to change business and human behavior for the better. How we do it is that we have a team of diverse thinkers. And when I say diverse, people always think I mean in terms of race and gender and age, but it's much more than that. We have everything from fine art students to journalism backgrounds to English lecturers to economists, and of course boring conventional marketers like myself. And it is that diversity that allows us to really kind of find unconventional wisdom, unconventional solutions to the problems that our clients have or the challenges they face, that will then enable them to drive sustainable growth for their businesses. And of course, what's fundamental to how we work as a business are our values, right? Which is originality, because we do strongly believe that every person and challenge is unique and therefore deserves a unique solution. We believe in humanity, that people should be at the heart of not just the work we produce, so strong human insights to inform the work we produce, but also in the way we work and seeing people as individuals. And of course, bravery, not being afraid to challenge the status quo, to challenge each other, to challenge our clients, and of course, not afraid to be challenged as well, because that's where real magic happens. So our work is really to make sure that we deliver on this purpose that I shared with you now, for our clients. And of course, we have a long list of clients, but if the screen is probably the top clients we've had in the last year or so. And as you'll see, it spans numerous sectors from ICT to financial services to entertainment in the form of radio, to fast-moving consumer goods, to the alcohol category and to NGOs. So we really do span, a broad sector of clients, which is incredibly exciting for us. And the work we've been doing over the last few years has seen us be awarded as the most innovative brand strategy consultancy across the continent, by the MEA Markets magazine, which was an incredible achievement for us and an incredible acknowledgement of the hard work that the amazing people who work here have done, and really the outstanding results we've been able to deliver for our clients. Now, when we talk about the actual people, these amazing people who have won that award, because it certainly isn't me, we, as I said, Yellowwood is a marketing strategy consultancy, and we are quite old. We've been around for 25 years, so well over that 18 that Lebang was talking about. And we are proudly a level 1 BEE company with a highly skilled leadership team. So our leadership team is the 6 ladies that you will see on the screen in front of you. And together we've been steering the ship for the last few years and finding really innovative ways to drive growth. And one of the most innovative things that we've done in the last couple of years was really restructure the business. So really having a sense of what do we think is likely to shape the future of marketing, to shape how it is that brands effectively communicate with their audiences and how they drive growth through the full marketing mix. And for us, while our core strategy, which was really business and brand strategy, and that's what Yellowwood was built on, is absolutely at the heart of what we do. We think, when we talk about positioning and architecture, all of those kinds of business and brand strategies sit at the heart of what we do. But there are other growth verticals that we've kind of started in the last 2 years or so. The one is communication strategy, so really bridging the gap between client and creative, and really ensuring that the business objective always lives in the work, so that the creative is not just powerful and compelling, but helps you deliver against your business objectives. We have our data strategy team, which is led by Mas Chaba, who I mentioned earlier. And really, that's just a response to the way the world is moving, right? We have this unbelievable amount of data at our fingertips all the time. And as you would have seen on the client slide, a lot of our clients are very, very large entities. And so they certainly have no shortage of data. And the ability to mine that data and find meaningful insights, including talking to 7,000 young people across the country as per GenNext, really made it clear to us that we do need a team that is appropriately skilled and dedicated to that capability. And finally, the youth strategy division, which we started about 1.5 years ago. And again, just an understanding that on a continent where 75% of people are under the age of 35, it just felt a bit silly for us to not have a dedicated division that is looking at what it is that young people are looking for and helping brands better connect and resonate with young people. So that's really the structure of the business. And again, we are seeing the results of that change. So not just in terms of that MEA award as the most innovative consultancy, but in the scope and survey, which was conducted last year amongst 207 senior marketing professionals, so CMOs and head of brands, we were ranked number 1 for strategy and number 2 for data analytics. And for me, there's no greater acknowledgement of the work that you are doing than the people who work with you the most. So marketers across the country acknowledging that we are unparalleled in the space of strategy and one of the best when it comes to data analytics. So that's kind of the Yellowwood story. The only thing to add is a little bit more about GenNext and JBOD, or I should say our youth portfolio. So in 2022, we acquired an agency called HDI, and with it, these 2 incredible properties. So the Sunday Times GenNext, which, as Eben mentioned, of course, is the coolest brands, as well as a youth behavior study. And we've added a youth segmentation study to that, which Mas Chaba will take you through shortly. And of course, the junior board of directors. So some of them are on the call already, as Lebang referred to them, our A team. And really what they are is 4 different groups, each consisting of about 12 to 18 people, spread across these 4 age groups. So tweens, teens, young adults, and young professionals. And as much as tools like GenNext are amazing, because they are a dipstick at a moment in time, what the junior board of directors enable us to do is to remain as close as possible to what is happening in the lives of young people, what matters to them, and to give real texture to the kind of data points that you would see coming out of studies like GenNext, as well as any other kind of youth research. So they are a really dynamic and engaging group of people, and I'm incredibly proud to have them here today. And with that, I will stop my little Yellowwood sales pitch and hand over to the incomparable Mas Chaba, who will take you through the GenNext methodology.
Okay, thanks for the introduction, Fleur. Right, so I'm going to be taking you through the nitty-gritties, the details. For some people, maybe the boring stuff. But yeah, just telling you a little bit really about what does the study actually entail, right? So what goes into it? Who are we speaking to? How many of them are we speaking to? And what are we actually asking? How do we get to the results that we are so proud of that make up the GenNext study for 2022? I want to start off by saying, our ambition with this whole study, of course, is to make sure that we create and track a base of understanding of the youth of South Africa that help business answer really one key question. And that is, how do you need to think differently about South Africa's youth in a way that will drive your brand's growth within the segment, right? So as we come up with these questions, as we put together the methodology, as we start to, speak to the youth, it is important that we kind of anchor all of our thinking and all of our ambition around this core question. So that is our approach as Yellowwood, and how we've gone about answering this question, or rather achieving this objective, is through a three-phased approach, okay? And in doing it in these three phases, I will elaborate about each phase, obviously a little bit more, but the idea of these phases is to make sure that we remain true to getting insights and getting data from the youth themselves, right? So we remove any hypotheses or preconceived notions that we have as having been youth very, very long ago. I think Lebang spoke, when last were you 18? And we really get the insights directly from the youth. And the first phase of this is what we call the shortlisting phase, right? So shortlisting for polling. In this shortlisting phase, which occurs, we're currently still in field with it, it's an open-ended, unprompted questionnaire. What I mean by that is that we ask youth, we give them the list of the categories. So the categories are the only thing that they kind of see. And for each category, they then tell us, without prompting in any kind of way, who they think the coolest brands in those categories are. So the challenge with this phase, of course, is because we get multiple brands coming back, which we need to analyze and refine to make the polling questionnaire. But what is always very interesting is that, there are brands out there that we've never heard of. There are brands that are being engaged with that, as non-youth, you would never think of. And what this phase really does for us is it pulls out all these unknown or maybe new brands that we would have otherwise not been able to discover had we done a Google search on what brands are talking about right now. On what brands youth are talking about right now. So that is the power of the shortlisting phase, and we do put a lot of emphasis on that. Last year, we achieved a sample of 2,100. We're hoping to do the same this year. And this particular survey goes out to 22 schools. Okay, so we can do 22 schools for the shortlisting phase, getting a sample of around 2,000 to just give us a sense of, okay, what are the brands that are out there that are in each of the categories, with which we will then take forward into phase 2, the polling phase. So in the polling phase, we then take the list of brands. We go up to 20, just for sake of not giving too many brands for each list. But each category, and I will talk to the categories in the next slide, but each category has a list of up to 20 brands that came out in the polling in the shortlisting phase of the study. And it is these brands, 20 to 25 actually. I know there is a category that has 25. It is these brands that then get voted on by the youth. And for this voting phase, we go to over 75 schools. And last year, we achieved a sample of 6,000 and hoping to at least do the same, if not more, for this year. But this is where the youth will then vote on who they think is the coolest brand. Again, I must stress that the brands that come into this final list are given to us directly from the polling list in the previous phase of the project, right? The only brands that will definitely always be on the list will be the top 5 from the previous year. So whatever category we're looking at, whatever came up in 2021 in the top 5, those brands are guaranteed a spot in the list for 2022, even if they weren't mentioned in the shortlisting, right? That's just to keep fair with what we're looking at. But they're never not mentioned. I'm just putting that disclaimer out there that the top 5 brands always get included next to whatever comes out in the shortlisting phase. So no discrimination on brands on the shortlisting phase. So that is the polling study, and that is the study which we write our coattails on. Coolest brands, everybody wants to win, and that is the study in which the award shows are obviously based on. This phase of study is heavily audited, because it is important that not only do we have our representative sample that answers these questions, but also that the brands can know very well that this is the true result and that everybody's happy with what's come out in the brand preference survey. Another part of what we do is called the youth behavior survey, right? So last year for this particular survey, we did get a sample of over 7,700 students, and that one goes to 102 schools. The reason that one has a higher sample, a larger sample, I beg your pardon, as well as going to more schools, is for the youth behavior survey. What we do as Yellowwood is we deep dive into the needs and behaviors of youth, as well as the key motivators and drivers of their behavior, whether inside of particular categories or at home in their communities. And we really, harness that understanding of what is it that is driving youth behavior? What is it that people need to know in order to remain relevant? What are the key things and themes that, in terms of how the youth, where they spend most of their time and how they behave, that really drives, their consideration in categories and brands in their society as a whole. So that survey is also taking place at the moment in terms of being in field. And that's also forms part of phase 2, right? So phase 2 is really just like the sizing of everything, the sizing of brand preference and the sizing of the youth behavior that forms a part of phase 2. And then phase 3 is how we close off the project in terms of all the insights that we gather. So whether it be in terms of surprising rankings from the polling, from the brand preference survey, whether it be from surprising nuances on behavior that we've picked up from the youth behavior survey, we then, alongside our JBods, conduct focus groups to really dive deep into understanding why that is. So it forms part of a validation, it forms part of a probing, but it really closes the loop for us to say what we spotted, does it make sense? Can our JBodders provide more insights? What have we missed? What do we need to know more of? And all of this information together really helps us, as well as you, to really be sure of one of the insights that we're picking up, but also really add depth and meat to what we think we know and what we think we understand about the youth market of South Africa. So this particular third phase, I just want to speak about the sample. No, that's fine. That third phase closes everything up. We can go forward to the sample. What we are really proud of is our ambition to make the sample as representative as possible. So what you see on the left is our sample from last year, in terms of the split around race, age, gender, and province. And what you will see on the right is the stats say figure on what our South African population looks like. And while, of course, our survey is based on under 30-year-olds, so the age thing is a little bit skewed because the age on the right is the age of everyone in South Africa, whereas on the left, we're just looking at the youth. So you can, I guess, relatively ignore that one. But what is really interesting is we are demographically representative, right, in terms of race, gender, and even province, is that what we have aimed to achieve and what we will continue to achieve, even probably get better numbers this year around, because it's always better as you do it more and more, is the representation. So we are really proud of that. And with our large sample size, representation is very important. And it becomes on par with a lot of the census and other stats that say data that we find around us in terms of what our youth population looks like. So speaking a little bit about the categories then, is for the brand preference survey, as you will see here, we have over about 70 categories across 8 different sectors in which we do our analysis on. Some of the new categories that we've looked at for this year is around, we have the savings and investment platform that will be included this year, as well as coolest accommodation booking app, which was interesting, that came out last year in terms of the youth behavior survey. And we're also looking at a brand that cares. So those are 3 new categories that have come in this year. And alongside those new categories, we are also going to be asking youth directly what new categories they want us to look at. So what we found really interesting last year was that, in the youth behavior survey, there were categories that came up that weren't being tested in the brand preference survey, which now we have included. But then we needed to ask ourselves, this thing about assuming what the categories are that we should be asking youth needs to stop, because staying true to our methodology is we need to get it from them themselves. So we are asking youth this year as well, what categories would they like us to explore, which we are very excited for next year to see. In terms of the results from last year, some of the things I just wanted to highlight, in terms of winners and how you become to winning with the youth. We've got Spotify that won last year as the coolest music store, Take-A-Lot as the coolest online store, and Nike as the coolest shoe footwear brand, as well as coolest overall brand. And what was interesting for us, and just a little tidbit of information, is these brands, they really maintain relevancy and maintain talkability by partnering with different things. Spotify with gifts and using gifts as a way to listen to music, and their killer algorithm, obviously a lot of youth speak about that. Take-A-Lot partners with DIY Suzette to create a platform in which you can then purchase things through her YouTube channel. And Nike, of course, we know is really about creating and more than just a shoe brand, right? They talk about consciousness that really does appeal to youth. And these themes also came out with our youth behavior survey and were validated with the brands that won in the coolest brands. Looking at the youth behavior survey, we really identify 5 questions. So I just want to speak to the 5 questions that we look at it, or we try to answer, or we aim to answer in the youth behavior survey. And it's really about why does the segment matter? So what is the economic viability of the segment for you and your business? What is it that they care most about? What is important to them? And what are the things that you as a business might want to think about talking to when it comes to the youth? We ask ourselves where you can find them and where do they spend most of their time. So a lot of the survey does talk about like what is your vibe? Where do you spend most of your time? Who do you spend it with? Where are you if someone wants to find you? The 4th question is about how do they communicate and how you can connect with them. So this just speaks to, what is it that appeals to them? What are the best channels in which a brand can communicate with them? How do they communicate with their friends, and how do they get influenced, I suppose, for lack of a better word? And the last question is who they are and their perspective on life. So this is a little bit more of an internal question in terms of what are their needs, their behaviors, their attitudes to life in general. What are some of the factors that influence the way that they see the world and the way that they respond to their environment? And this who also has a phase of the segmentation, which Refilwe did speak to, that we are looking at separately because of how involved we got into unpacking the youth segmentation via the Ask Why study. And in that youth segmentation, just to unpack slightly, we have identified 4 separate different segments, right? So there's the pursuit of survival, so the survival pursuers, whose motivator is about surviving, those who are slightly more economically challenged and really seeking safety and security when it comes to their environment. There's the growth-driven, whose motivator is growth, and they're loving life and having great access to see the positive. So they are very much inherently looking for positivity in their lives. There's the emerging optimists who keep going and become more conscious. So we do see that environmental consciousness coming across the segment where their motivator is mind and body. And then there's the opportunity seekers, whose motivator is opportunity, but they're really looking at having a good handle on life and treading carefully in trying to find what it is that is promised to them in the new South Africa, right? So those are our 4 segments, and we do a deep analysis on them across various categories that we've identified in the youth behavior survey, and really helping to unpack key behavioral drivers as well as strategies for businesses to target and maintain relevance across the segment using these segmentations. So these are the kind of things that we've unpacked when it comes to youth behavior and preference surveys. And we have options as Yellowwood, we have packaged options for analysis. So while we have the awards that is presented by Sunday Times and the brand preference survey that's based on who has won in terms of the coolest brands in the category, there are more steps to that, right? So in the supplement for Sunday Times, you will see the unpack and the insights that we uncover at a level, at a more holistic, broader level in the talking about South African youth. But as businesses, of course, you always want to ask yourself is, how is this relevant for me? How do I use this information, and how is it important, in terms of my ambitions and my strategies in growing amongst the youth segments? And with that, we as Yellowwood, as the strategists that we are, help to build that out for you, right? So we have the various packages, whether it be just based on brand preference analysis, on the overall youth behavior report, which talk to those 5 questions that I spoke to earlier, or whether it be specific to the segmentation, right? So a lot of work and hours go into the analysis for these particular products and making it relevant for your business with the ambition in mind to answer your growth challenge when it comes to the youth of South Africa. This is what GenNext is about. GenNext is about getting to the heart of it, and it is the only survey of its kind in South Africa at the moment, and I don't see how anybody else is going to get into it at this moment in time, because we are the pros. We've put a lot of work in it, and we've become pretty good at it to date. So that's me, and that's the methodology. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Master Chaba. Thank you, Refilwe. Clearly, Yellowwood, numbers don't lie. is the takeaway. You guys really know what you guys are talking about. And the research phase is honestly one of the most important. I think anything that you want to do, it's always said that start with the research. So thank you very much to both of you for sharing that with our marketers. And definitely, I think if there are any questions, please do put them in the comment section. I think both Rifule and Masichab will be more than willing to answer those questions, just so that you have a better idea of exactly what it is that we will be doing for the remainder of the year. So, but before I go into the panel discussion, I mean, I'm itching to speak to our JBODs, and JBOD again means Junior Board of Directors. I'm sorry, but I find that to be so impressive. I wish that at some point in my life, I was identified as a JBOD. I would put that on my CV. I'd put that all over my social media. So our JBODs are also in the house. They are also eager and keen to chat to us as well. But before we do that, I just thought it's actually quite important for me to share with you what our theme is for the event this year. Every year we have to have a theme, and this year is no different, except, we have to take it up a notch. This year, our theme is the human touch in a world of algorithms. And Masichaba did speak about algorithms a little bit. And when you think about a brand such as Spotify, or even just the platform, how it's almost like when you take out your phone and you play something, it's like they know what you want to listen to. Like, how are they so good at just feeding us the music and the content that we love so much? So algorithms and really a human touch in the world of algorithms is going to be our theme for the year. And really, it's informed by, the two themes of the digital age in a real world. As we grow, technology is becoming more and more prevalent in our lives. And that's something we can't run away from. But the big idea really is inspired by something that makes you a very unique individual, And what is that most common thing that appears both in the digital and in the real life? That one thing that you can say, it's both digitally and in the real world. This is what makes me who I am. So it's just that first mark, that you leave on anyone or anything else that you come into contact with or that you connect with. Because like I said, we can't ignore that, things are changing and the world is moving and we need to move with it. Even though we may miss the good old days of, not having this much technology. I mean, growing up, we had no social media. If I wanted to see my friend, I had to ask my parents. And if they said yes, then I'd have to wait until the weekend just to see them or at least pass a message on to them. Now it takes you 5 seconds, which is cool, but equally scary. So again, our theme for the year is the human touch in a world of algorithms. So please do keep that in mind. And I think most importantly, we're trying to find a balance here. We're trying to find, a 50-50 of managing both the digital world and real life, because they're both so equally important and one isn't more important than the other. So we'll see how good we do at that. So it's that time of the event. There's the main show and then there's the after party. So now it's the after party, y'all. Our JBuds are ready. We're about to meet them. I'm so excited to introduce all 4 of them who have been specially selected. And not just anybody, specially selected. I will start with Bonolo. Bonolo Matona is 13 years old. She's our tween JBud. Now, I'm trying to remember what tween is. It's like almost a teen, but not really, like you're got her to tween, something like that. Ne? So Bonolo is, her birthday is on the 28th of June. That makes her a Cancer, which is very exciting. She likes digital art. She's very bubbly. She says that she's a great actor. Bonolo, I hope to see you on our movie screens in the next coming years, because, you're manifesting that and we want that for you, girl. Her favorite food is buffalo wings from Spur. She's got taste. And she also enjoys having a good laugh with her friends. And her best friend is a cousin who really cares and loves her. That's so nice. And she enjoys learning new languages. And currently, she's learning Japanese and isiZulu. Bonolo, konnichiwa. How are you? How are you, Bonolo?
Good, thanks.
Awesome. So she's not our only panel member. We also have 14-year-old Lwazi Mashinini, who is our teen JBud. So there's teen show. I can't keep up. Lwazi is currently in grade 7 and she is obsessed with various forms of design, including home decor, fashion, and architecture. Nice. Her favorite things to do is to hang out with her friends, of course, making jokes. And she also enjoys playing netball, bringing some movies home to watch, and she enjoys watching Netflix. She'd like to be an architect when she gets older, even though she must admit, her words, not mine, she says that watching Dr. Pimple Popper makes becoming a dermatologist so tempting. Lwazi, welcome to it. How are you doing this afternoon?
Hi, I'm good and you?
I am awesome. Okay, let's go over to our young adults. This is our other J-Bod. He's the only male in the house, Mr. Jacques de Villiers. He's 24 years old and he currently lives in the northern suburbs of Joburg, and he works as a business development manager for his family's interior design firm and metals recycling business. Now, that is very interesting. He says he's constantly seeking ways to improve his know-how of business so that he can one day build organizations that'll help solve the world's problems. That is so nice. He's passionate, ambitious, eco-conscious, and growth-orientated, which is awesome. And he says he spends most of his time gaming, exercising, writing, reading, and learning about topics that range from philosophy to technology. And also, he has a lovely beard. Jacques, welcome. How are you today?
Very well, thanks, Lebang. Thanks for that intro.
Absolutely. And last but not least, our final J-Bod. She is our young professional, the gorgeous Lauren Hunt. She's born and bred in Mitchells Plain, Cape Town, and she has a national diploma in event management, and she's currently completing her advanced diploma in marketing and advertising communications. You are in the right place, girl. Her passion is people, creativity, and events, hence her qualifications. She says she does enjoy a good challenge, but it always keeps her on her toes. And she would describe herself as someone who's open-minded, but also logical. She's also to the point and very honest. And a random fact about herself, she actually loves the beach. Lauren, how are you today? How are you feeling, girl?
I'm well, thanks. And yourself?
I am awesome. So thank you guys for joining us. I mean, you guys are the junior board of directors. You know, you guys were specially chosen. You guys are the voice of the youth right now. And I think let's just get straight into the questions for anybody watching at home or wherever you are. If you do also have any questions, please don't be shy. Pop them into the comment section and we'll make sure that they do get on. So I've got one for all of you because like, I want to personally know, like, I know which brand stood out for me the most last year, right? Like personally on, you know, I mean, as a mother of four, you know, as a hardworking young Black South African woman who is just out here on her grind, I knew when I, you know, wake up in the morning or I'm on my phone, oh, that brand is top of mind. But can each of you tell me what brand stood out for you the most last year and why? I think I'll start with you, Loazi.
The brand that stood out for me in 2021 is Converse because their brand is cool. I find it stylish, and there's different varieties of shoes. I discovered them on Pinterest, so different social media platforms. And so I did research and I found their website and started looking on their website, and I found very cool shoes, different pops of color, and it's, for me, I personally find it very cool. And yeah, I really like their product.
Awesome. Bonolo, what brand stood out for you the most last year?
Last year was Roblox. Me and my friends used to play it a lot and it got quite close with us. We enjoyed playing like Jailbreak and Royal High and games, etc. like that. And it didn't get boring in quarantine because immediately after school, we just all play games and enjoy ourselves.
Your parents must be so lucky. I personally do not allow roadblocks in my household. It is my nightmare because that's all my kids want to play. So clearly they're doing something right. Jacques, what brand was it for you that took 2021?
Personally, 2021 was the year I kind of started my professional career, if you will. So getting my finances in order was kind of paramount. So Time Bank really stood out to me. You know, they're such a low barrier to entry. I didn't have to worry about the monthly fees, that whole story. And it also really helps me save in a very like orderly way. So I'd say Time Bank, yeah.
Okay, and last but not least, Miss Lauren, what brand took 2021 for you?
I feel for me, I was studying last year and everything would work and in standstill with the restrictions. So for me, the thing that stood out was actually the city of Cape Town and the government with promoting the vaccinations. So maybe because I'm a little older, I was worried about safety, family, and things like that. So the thing that stood out for me was mainly the advertising of vaccinations.
That's an interesting one. I actually never looked at that as a brand, but if it caught your attention, then obviously, it counts as one. I've got a question from Tatum, and this is obviously for all four of you, so any of you can answer this. The first question being, what are some of the passion points that you would like brands to activate? I like this question. Jacques, do you want to maybe take the lead on this?
Yeah, sure. I'll give it a shot. Passion points. Look, I think something that's will be timeless at this stage is a sustainability perspective of things. If I were just to give an example, I base a lot of my clothing choices on the sustainable cotton, et cetera, that I purchase. So I don't think that one can drive that one home enough. Especially, with the whole COVID thing, people realizing, some people had this idea that it's the world fighting back. I would say that we can drive the sustainability thing until the cows come home.
Okay, Lauren, what do you think?
I would say having purpose. I think with COVID happening, everyone changed their perspective on things drastically. So you don't just want to buy at a shop that just wants to make money. At the end of the day, it's about you supporting them to support others. So I think having a purpose and giving back would be a good one.
Yeah, I think as consumers, we like to believe that our favorite brands are giving back. We want to feel very connected to the brands. And it always feels nice knowing that, you're giving your money to a brand that's also just like, they're about you. They know who you are, and they also care about similar things that you do. So that's a very, very good point. I'm going to ask Bonolo and Loazi. This is also a question from Tatum. What is the coolest current brand out there for you right now?
Shein. Shein has one of the most amazing clothes I've seen in a while, and it's all on one app. My mom and I have been discussing about buying at Shein since last year, and I'm just so excited to buy from there. Their clothes are just unique. They're not clothes you can just find everywhere, and that's what I like about it.
Interesting. Loazi?
I also agree with Bonolo. I love Shein and Cotton On. Their clothes are different. They're not like other shops. So I love going online to check for new clothes and purchasing them because their clothes are really nice. They're not the same as any other brand. So yeah.
So, Loazi, do you think it's important then for brands to have like an e-commerce / online shop where you can just rather get everything online instead of having to go into the store?
Yes, I think it's important to have. Okay, wait. So basically, I think it's good to have an online shop or an app, and also a place to go in person. So a shop to go physically, just in case like you live near, you live nearby, and also just to order online, so it's easier for everybody.
Sure, you guys are much wiser than me. I'm still having cold feet about buying clothes online. So the fact that you guys are into Shein, yeah, that's very interesting. Now we know where the world is going. Another question I just want to find out from you guys, and any of you can take this one. What are some of the platforms that brands should really focus on utilizing in 2022? I mean, we spend so much time on our cell phones, on our tablets, on our devices, and we're constantly interacting with one another via social media. But it seems like there's always a new network or always a new platform. I know TikTok is super, super hot right now. It's in fashion. Still trying to figure it out. Have no clue what's going on there, but I'm sure you guys know what's next and what's hot and what's not. So I'll start with Bonolo. Bonolo, what are some of the platforms that brands should be looking out for right now?
Just like you said, TikTok, YouTube could also be a great one. Snapchat.
Okay.
And Discord.
This what? Discord.
Discord. It's a talking and chatting app
They
to
are so many.
communicate.
Jacques, have you heard of Discord? Lauren, do you even know what Discord is? I cannot be the only one.
I've heard
Um,
about it, but not the specifics. No.
I use Discord, so yes, I definitely have. It's kind of like a easy way to chat when you like gaming. It was used a lot during COVID, I think, so people could communicate. I think it could definitely be a good angle. You know, something that's been happening lately, I suppose, in the crypto and NFT space, is these huge chat rooms being formed. And people pitching their products or the projects that they have on there. So I think, I wouldn't say that, sponsored paid advertisement would work there, but for more of an organic and kind of face-to-face or communicative thing, as we're discussing the theme of a human touch in a world of algorithms, I think that could actually create that human touch, as long as you can offer value for people to obviously join the whole platform.
And for you, Lauren, what platforms do you think they should really focus on this year?
I would say, not that I use it very often, but TikTok. I mean, everyone is there. And in today's world, no one wants to read articles. I'm going to be honest. We are so busy that like you want to absorb information within 3 to 5 seconds. So images or videos that's like less than 10 seconds, so you can grasp what they're trying to say and move on. So yeah, TikTok, I would say Instagram, and Facebook is also coming to that side as Instagram. But I mean, it also does depend on who your target market is at the end of the day, because that's where you kind of refine things. But yeah.
Lozzie, do you know what Facebook is? I just need to ask.
Yes, I do know what Facebook is.
Okay. Sometimes I just feel like a bit of an old elephant because these kids are just not interested in Facebook at all. But Facebook is like one of the OG networks. You just can't do away with it. You know, it's got like so many memories and you can keep all like your real stuff there. So thank you, Lauren, for mentioning Facebook. That makes me feel better. I've got a question for all of you. This one is from Stormy, and Stormy saying, are the youth torn between having in-person brand experiences, or are they still cautious about the look, feel, touch, and other aspects of a brand marketing? Jacques, I feel like you can take this one, brother.
There is definitely a feeling of being torn between things. I mean, an example would be this headset that I'm wearing right now. It had lots of great reviews, but is it going to fit my ears? Is it going to be, how does it actually sound? So I would say I'm definitely torn between the two. Personally, I do want to see things online first. I want to do my research before and then I want the option to look, feel, touch, and have the experience. That's why, for example, Takealot's so great, is because the barrier to returns is so low. So definitely a kind of as she said, being torn between the two experiences.
Yeah, and you, Lozzie, what do you think? Do you like the fact that you can go through the reviews? I mean, I personally first just look at like how many stars. If it's less than 3, it must be crappy. I'm sorry, I'm not even trying. But it's nice to know that we have like people's other personal experiences that they've put out there. So do you spend a lot of time, checking out the reviews and the stars? How does that help to make your decision in purchasing a product?
So I go online and do my research. For example, I want to get something from Cotton On or Mr. Price. I go on their website to check what clothes I like. And if I live nearby Mr. Price, then I'll go check at the shop to see if the pants or the shirt fits me properly. And if I like it, then I'll purchase the product. And if I don't like it in person and I change my mind, then I won't purchase the product.
That seems legit. That definitely seems legit. Okay, guys, I'm going to ask you something a little bit controversial. We've been seeing quite a lot, or let me say similar strategies that brands use. It's almost like copy paste. One that I must say, obviously, shot to the sky was like influencer marketing, of course, because of COVID, blah, blah, whatever the case. And we saw, almost a lot of people getting taken by brands to represent the brands to try and sell us products. So personally, I think, the pros of that is that it's really cool. Now it's like a personalized touch. But once it gets abused and used in the wrong way, it almost just seems too unorganic. And sometimes it's like, oh man, why are all these brands picking the same group of people to advertise the same thing? And we're human, so we know when something isn't real, right? So I want to know basically, what are some of the marketing strategies that are likely to fade away, in your opinion, for this year? Maybe let me start with Lauren for a change.
It's a tough question. I'm going to be very honest, because I would say, firstly, I feel like print is like slowly fading away for the fact that everyone is going digital. Everything is at the tip of your hands, whether it's your phone, your tablet, or your laptop. No one really goes to buy magazines and newspapers anymore. So especially with the youth, I feel like print wouldn't make it as much. And like you said, with the influences on the digital aspect, I feel like that is being overused. And a lot of people are kind of seeing through it now, using the same five faces in all the adverts that you can see on social media. So that one is getting vetted a lot more. And so yeah, I feel like that one's on the edge.
Oh, it's like, we're just giving CPR to a dead situation. Jacques, what do you think? What are some of the strategies that are just like, yeah, it's cap, it's over for it?
Personally, something, and I may be very wrong here, but something that I'm very much getting over is brands trying to make use of memes as a, you know what I mean? So everyone's like, I mean, I guess it works, but I see straight through it. Like if you come with if Coca-Cola starts using Squid Game memes, for example, as an ad, I've got no time for it. I think the influencer thing personally might be here to stay. I think we're always going to look up to people. We want to be like the people we want to be like. So that's why everyone's going to look to them. But the whole meme thing, corny memes, it's almost like the dad trying to be hip and cool. That's what that's starting to feel like to me personally.
We love hip, cool dads. Come on, Jacques. You actually made me think of something. When there's like something that's trending, that's always when you can see where a brand's true mineral lies. It's either they'll like hop onto the trend as organic and as naturally as possible, or they'll just kind of like force their way into the conversation. And it's so like sticky. And it's like, you don't have to be a part of everything. We love you. You're great. But this one, maybe you could have just sat it out. I think, just having the right people on the inside who are really, in touch with what's happening on the ground and really are your target market could help so much more, because then you know exactly what the conversation is and there's better ways and more organic ways to connect. But yeah, man, you have to give it up to the brands for at least trying. For the most part, now what social media is allowing us to do is to tell you straight up that, hey, at insert brand name, this is actually not working and maybe you should try again. I've got a question from Matom, and Matom is saying, what does the panel think about the future of South Africa? I love this question. And what are you most excited about and what are you most concerned about? So give it a little bit of a think. But generally, I'll start with you, Bonolo. Bonolo, what does the future of South Africa look like for you?
The future is probably more technology, like robotic stuff. And it's going to be nice, maybe having a personal robotic assistant helping you around and stuff. But what the fear could be is maybe a malfunction or like a hacker trying to do something with the robot where it could hurt you and attack you and etc.
Never even thought of that. Do you see how smart these kids are? They thinking way ahead. We're still trying to figure out if we trust these online stores. They thinking, yo, y'all are going to get hacked. Thanks, Bonolo. Lwazi, what do you think the future of South Africa is looking like?
I think there's going to be more technology, and what Bonolo said, like coding and robotics. I'm seeing schools are starting to introduce coding and robotics, and I think that's the future. So they teach you how to code, and you can create your own app if you want to. So I think it's a variety of things, but I think it's coding and robotics as well.
Very cool. Jacques, what's the future of SA looking like? What are you most excited about? And what are you maybe concerned about?
I see the future of SA as being I like to be an optimist, and I feel like this is the land of opportunity. I would really like to see South Africa become the economical powerhouse that it really can be if the powers that be, do what they need to do in order to make that happen. If you listen to the sonas and all those things, there's so many promising things being said, and I want to believe those things. I guess my biggest concern is that the bureaucracy and the red tape and the the various entrenched, how can I say, rot in the country takes hold and doesn't allow for the optimists to take hold. And yeah, that's my view.
Okay, and lastly, Lauren, before we close up, what is South Africa looking like for you in the future? What are you excited about and what are you concerned about?
Like all the other panelists said, what it looks like in the future. I do think the digital, I do think we as a country have talent to move forward from everything that we've been through. But I would say a concern would be with everything going digital, everything is already so fast paced. My concern is how fast can we still go before things start toppling? But that's my only concern. But I do think we have a bright future.
I love that. So it seems like we all kind of want the same thing. We just want a better country where everybody has equal opportunities, and of course the inclusion of, robotics and all this technological stuff that some of us know nothing about, but we're trusting you guys to take the wheel there and just manage it. Thank you guys, man. Thank you so much. It's been so nice chatting to you. J-Bods, you guys are awesome. You guys are extremely talented. Lauren, thank you so much. Jacques, Bonolo, Loazi, enjoy still being considered a youth. Because when they stop, and they'll stop, you'll feel some type of way. You will feel some type of way. To our speakers, Irvin, thank you so much. Rifile and Masachaba, thank you so, so much just for taking the time out to share with our audience and with the world all the exciting things that GenNext event has in store for the year 2022. Please, 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 if you do want to participate, get in touch with us. Thank you to Yellowwood. Thank you to Sunday Times. And yeah, very, very soon, you'll be hearing more about what's actually coming up on the actual live event, which is all the way in September. But we do have a lot happening between now and then. So please, thank you again for sticking around. Please make sure that if you want to participate, if you want to get in touch with anyone, you simply do so. And this has been awesome. My name is Lebang Khosana, and thank you for taking the time to spend your afternoon with us. Have a beautiful evening.